Hi everyone, and welcome to Jane Talks Buffy. It's Slayer Sunday, where I'll be talking about and reviewing all the episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer in order. Today, I'm looking at Season 5, Episode 16, The Body. And this week, I am joined by a very special guest, longtime supporter of my channel, Graham Nicholas, who cites this as his favourite episode. So let's get going. We begin the episode with a recap of the end of I Was Made to Love You.
Right from the cold open, there's one thing which struck me straight off the bat. The opening scene is a rerun of the previous episode, which the show had never done before, an early sign that this is going to be a special one. It's also evident on rewatches of Season 5 that we so often see Buffy come through her front door, a completely normal thing to do, but this time it will be so different.
And into the credits we go.
The flashback while the credits roll is a bit of a what the fuck moment initially, but placed to last exactly as long as the credits.
This Christmas recap was placed in there so the credits didn't play over and distract from what is to come, and also provides a jarring cut back to reality. Buffy shakes Joyce and yells at her, and when she doesn't respond, she runs for the phone and calls an ambulance. She's clearly panicking while the operator is calm and comforting, a reverse of Buffy's usual role, and the camera movement adds to the unease. She can't remember how to do CPR, but with some encouragement she's able to give it a go until...
It cracked!
She tells the operator that Joyce feels cold.
The body is cold? No, my mom!
And the operator tells her to keep calm and wait for the ambulance, before Buffy hangs up and calls Giles with a cryptic message.
That whole scene with Buffy is heartbreaking. The writing, directing and acting are out of this world. I'm lucky enough never to have been in Buffy's position, but it still feels far too real to me.
The ambulance and a boom mic arrives, but Buffy makes sure Joyce is presentable first.
Little touches, such as Buffy pulling down her mum's skirt, always get to me.
The paramedics work on Joyce while asking Buffy lots of questions, where she tells them about the brain tumour, but insists she's fine now, and I guess she's right, because Joyce regains consciousness and is carted off in an ambulance. But isn't this episode called The Body? There we go.
The fake out of Joyce's recovery is cruel, but again realistic. We can't help when and where our mind wanders, especially in times of great stress.
The paramedics try their best, but it's inevitably futile, and they declare her dead, with the paramedic telling her the news in this interesting shot, showing Buffy is focusing on the words, not who is saying them. They have another call they have to attend to, and tell Buffy the coroner will be by later to collect Joyce. But in the meantime, they tell her not to move the body, and sweetly, as they leave, Buffy wishes them luck.
I've no idea how realistic it is that the paramedics just leave Buffy alone with her mum's body, but it sucks. Poor Buffy. What a position to be in.
I know things are usually tweaked or exaggerated for TV, but I believe it's fairly standard that paramedics wouldn't transport someone who was dead on arrival. Instead, that would be left to the coroner, but I agree that's a horrific situation to be in. Buffy goes outside for some air, but hears merriment around her, and then Giles arrives, worrying that Glory has done something, before spotting Joyce.
No, it's too late.
And then there's the...
We're not supposed to move the body!
Every time that line makes me cry.
Agreed. That gets me bad. When the operator called Joyce a body, Buffy corrected her, but now she's realised what has actually happened. Her mum is gone. All that's left is a body. Dawn is moping around crying because a boy called her a name and some girl is picking on her. Honestly, I don't really care. It's a bit blah and alters the tone and pace of the episode a bit.
Most of the scene with Dawn is fairly dull, right up until Buffy appears. And is it just me, or does her teacher look a bit like Joyce? I'm sure it's deliberate, just to hurt us all a bit more.
Ooh, I did not notice that. Good spot. Buffy arrives and breaks the news to Dawn, which you can't hear. All that is audible is Dawn sobbing, so now I feel bad. Willow tearfully stresses about her choice of clothes. I'm sorry, I just need to know about the string cheese incident. And she wants a blue top, which she can't find, while Tara comforts her, but it doesn't seem to help.
I have to be supportive. Buffy needs me to be supportive. I can't. Why do all of my shirts have to have stupid things on them?
The scene with the Scoobies is incredible. From Willow's fussing about her clothes and her...
Can I be a grown-up?
to Tara once again being the best human on the planet. And what an episode to show their first ever on-screen kiss, but so well done, making it just a normal thing that two people in love do, rather than making a huge deal out of it. I've heard that this was the first lesbian on-screen kiss in American TV, and if that's right, it's another reason to be proud of the show, despite how it all ends up just over one season later.
While iconic, this was not the first lesbian on-screen kiss in American TV. That honour goes to LA Law back in 1991, but totally agree, it is still a beautiful moment, not overdone, between between two people in love. Anya asks Xander what she's supposed to do, but he doesn't have an answer, and they all stand around awkwardly. And while Anya asks more questions, Tara is once again the steady, stable voice of reason.
I have to change.
Xander asks if it was Glory, but Tara says no. So Xander goes off on a rant about the doctors not doing their job properly.
We don't have enough monsters in this town. The doctor's got to help them out.
Willow offers to fight Xander to make him feel better, but he just ends up kissing her on the head, just like Tara did a few minutes before.
You know I can't take you.
Damn straight.
And Anya chimes in with more questions about what's going on.
I know Anya is still adjusting to life as a human, but some of her questions in this scene are a bit insensitive, even by her standards. However, her speech, again, it gets me every time. Certainly things I have thought about in times of loss.
Yeah, let's talk about her speech. I can't play it all, but I'll put what I can without YouTube getting cranky. Tara goes to the laundry room to look for the blue top Joyce liked, and after Willow yells at Anya for being insensitive, we get this.
I don't understand how this all happens. I mean, I knew her, and then there's just a body. And I don't understand why she just can't get back in it and not be dead anymore. It's stupid. Well, Joyce will never have any more fruit punch, ever. And she'll never have eggs, or yawn, or brush her hair, not ever. And no one will explain to me why.
Willow says no one really knows why. And Anya unknowingly finds the blue top and tosses it to one side, before Xander punches the wall.
Where did your hand go?
He's now stuck, so the girls have to try and free him as Tara comes back confused.
Xander decided that he blames the wall.
And ooh, that looks nasty. Willow decides it doesn't matter about the blue top anymore. It just matters that they're there for Buffy.
One small detail, which I absolutely adore in this scene, is when the Scoobies are getting ready to leave and Xander says, "Avengers got to get with the assembling." If you closely watch Willow, you can see her mouth to Tara, "I love you." It is such a beautiful moment.
I have never noticed that before. That's adorable. The doctor finishes Joyce's autopsy as the gang come together, Xander and Giles hugging, which happens rarely, and Anya wants one too.
I love how the whole gang are there for each other, re-emphasising the found family theme.
The doctor tells Buffy that Joyce died of an aneurysm, and when Buffy questions needing to know about it, he says Joyce knew and was aware of the risks. And even if Buffy had been right next to Joyce when it happened, there's nothing she could have done to save her life.
Buffy, not hearing what the doctor is saying and imagining the worst, so relatable.
Giles agrees to take care of all the paperwork and decisions and goes off with the doctor while Buffy relays the information to the others. And maybe because this camera makes her nervous, Dawn says she needs to pee and goes off alone.
Something I missed on early viewings was that the first thing Anya says to Buffy is,
I wish that Joyce didn't die.
From her, that means everything. If she had her powers, she would have made it happen.
Poor Anya, she's so confused, bless her. Now she's mortal, she just wants to fix things and doesn't know how. Willow, Xander and Anya go off to get snacks in case Dawn gets hungry, leaving Buffy and Tara together, where Tara admits that her mother died when she was 17 and says she reacted badly with negative thoughts.
I know it's different for you. Because it's always different.
And offers support, with Buffy asking if it was sudden, to which Tara replies,
No. And yes. It's always sudden.
Dawn comes out of the bathroom and goes into the morgue, locking herself in, which seems unsafe, seeing as how easy to access it is, and approaches Joyce's body as a vampire sits up in the background. The trio come back with all the snacks, and Buffy realises Dawn is not back yet, so heads down to the morgue too, seeing the attacking vampire, and breaks down the door.
The scene at the end with the vamp, I used to hate that they did this. Why put in a supernatural element in this real life episode? But over time, and after seeing and reading different reviews, I have changed my mind. For Buffy, and let's face it, the whole of the show bar a few episodes is centred around her, vampires are real life. Real life doesn't stop and give you a break just because you're grieving, so why should it for Buffy? And of course, the vamp fight is a little different. No banter, no puns, no music, and no martial art fighting. This is a real struggle, brutal and tough, just like life is. The world doesn't care that you're going through a rough time, and it won't play background music to comfort you. This scene highlights this, and I think it was the right choice to include it.
Buffy takes the vampire's head off with a bone saw, and the two sisters face the rest of their lives without their mother.
Is there any episode in TV which brings more anxiety than The Body? Maybe I'm a masochist, but this is my favourite episode, not just of Buffy, but of all television. Although it does have close competition from Once More with Feeling and Hush, and the fact that there is even close competition for my favourite episode is a testament to the show.
As you know, I prefer the more light-hearted episodes, which is why A New Man is my favourite, but there is no denying that The Body is an expertly crafted episode that makes me cry every time.
As much as it makes me cry, I can admire and love the genius of the episode. It was brave, and it could easily have gone horribly wrong. How The Body didn't win a single Emmy is beyond me. Everyone brought their A-game to this, and Sarah Michelle Gellar in particular was outstanding. Especially when you learn that the one-shot take they did was filmed around 7 times, and every single time she nailed it.
Everyone in this did an amazing job, everyone staying true to their own characters and elevating their performances to really make this an iconic episode of television. But also, can we just for a second celebrate what an outstanding job Kristine Sutherland did? For 95% of the episode, she just had to lie there, but that is no easy feat. And her just being the titular body with a coldness and stillness compared to her laughing and joking previously was the most impactful part for me. I also met Kristine Sutherland recently at Comic-Con, dressed like 7 of 9. She apologised because she didn't know who my character was, but said I looked gorgeous, so that is pretty much the coolest thing ever. She was also super lovely and took the time to chat with each person who came to see her. Really awesome lady.
The show is about growing up, transitioning from school years to adulthood. The vampires and demons, metaphors for life's obstacles along the way. The vampire here, which she protects Dawn from, is brutal, harsh and naked, and a reminder that the next obstacle for Buffy is dealing with her mother's death. Not just the grieving process, but the added responsibility of parenting Dawn and being the responsible adult is going to be harsh, brutal and naked. By this I think it means that it's exposing Buffy to real life events, which her mum had always cloaked her from. Hence the nakedness of the vamp. But that's just my take on it though.
Also, I think the lack of physical fighting, except for the vampire at the end, really shows how much Buffy can't fight against death. There's nothing she can do to prevent what's just happened, and even though she's the Slayer, she is powerless in the face of death. One of the most striking elements of this episode is the lack of music and score. All the sounds are diegetic, and there are long periods of silence which highlight the emptiness of the situation. When you compare that to something like Hush, which lacked in dialogue but told its story through music, you can really see how different uses of sound can set the tone for a story that's about to unfold.
I like the lack of music, with the only sounds being real life ones. This leaves us undirected in how we should feel about something. Cheerful music helps guide us to know a scene is a happy, funny or silly one. Sad, melancholy music for the opposite effect. The Body has no music, and therefore our full interpretation is ours alone. It's a powerful statement, and only a strong episode can pull it off. Joss himself said in the commentary it was done with the intention of putting the viewer in the moment of dumbfoundedness, the airlessness of losing somebody. In terms of the death itself, the lack of metaphor for a show so rich in metaphors is also striking, and again brings home the realism. Finally, a nod to say how well written it is to show each of the 5 stages of grief through the different Scoobies. Dawn representing denial, Xander representing anger, Willow representing bargaining, Anya representing depression, and Tara representing acceptance.
Wow, I did not catch that, and rewatching the episode with this in mind really changes the experience and makes sense of the characters, their actions and their behaviour. I want to highlight Tara, and you know I love Oz and I miss him so much, but Tara is a wonderful person in herself and for Willow, and she's a great support for Buffy too. Everyone needs a Tara in their life. Anya was the physical embodiment of people's thoughts when death occurs. It doesn't make sense. Why can't they just be alive again? It's stupid that you're never going to see them again. They're never going to do the things that they used to do. And I'm not going to lie, death scares the hell out of me. I also want to touch on one final point, and that is about Giles. He is a great support in this episode and the ones to come in dealing with all the grown-up things that life throws at you, which shows that he is more than just a watcher to Buffy. He's her family, especially seeing as her actual dad isn't there for her. But also, Giles disappears 3/4 of the way through the episode, leaving Buffy to take care of Dawn, which mirrors what will happen in the show as a whole. Giles is always there for Buffy, but he will not always physically be there, as he will depart from the show about 3/4 of the way through, leaving Buffy to fend for herself. It's a hard lesson, but one Buffy must face, because let's face it, at the end of the day, this is her story. We have 2 deaths to add to our count. One human, very sadly Joyce, who I decided to count in this episode rather than the previous one, as this is the one where she's declared officially dead, and she died because of complications due to her surgery. And one vampire. this naked dude killed by Buffy protecting Dawn, which brings our running total to 25 humans, 1 transformation, 28 vampires, and 10 demons. So there you have it. That was The Body. Thank you so much to Graham Nicholas for joining me for this one and sharing his thoughts and opinions on his favourite episode. I hope you've enjoyed it, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Or come say hi on social media. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button, it really does mean a lot. Or consider subscribing if you want to be sired by my channel. Alternatively, feel free to check out my other YouTube channels. Thank you so much for watching, I'll speak to you soon, and don't let the vampires bite.